The music is pumping, everyone is laughing at the host's joke, and the vibe in the room seems perfect. But you feel like you just swallowed a brick. You look across the table and you don't just see a smiling couple. You feel the icy, sharp silence of a relationship that ended 3 months ago, even though they haven't told a soul yet. You try to shake it off, maybe grab another drink, but the air in the room feels heavy, thick with unspoken resentment that nobody else seems to notice. And when you try to whisper to a friend that something feels off, they look at you like you've grown a second head and tell you to stop overthinking. But you aren't overthinking. You are seeing the invisible architecture of the room. Carl Jung, the Swiss psychiatrist who went deeper into the human psyche than perhaps anyone else, devoted his life to studying people exactly like you. He understood that for some individuals, and if you identify as an empath, this is your reality, awareness doesn't stop at the surface. Jung found that this ability to look behind the curtain isn't the shiny, fun superpower movies show it to be. In fact, he argued it can be a crushing psychological burden if you don't learn how to carry it. Here is the uncomfortable truth that most self-help books ignore. The danger isn't just the bad vibes you pick up. The real risk is what that constant intake of data does to your sense of self. It forces you to live in a state of perpetual double vision. You see the polite smile, but you feel the hidden knife. You have probably felt this disconnect your whole life, right? It's like watching a foreign movie where the subtitles don't match the audio. You are hearing words of love, but reading subtitles of betrayal. Jung described a concept called participation mystique. It is a fancy way of saying the boundary between you and them has collapsed. For the average person, that boundary is a fortress. For an empath, it is a screen door banging in the wind. You don't just observe the mood in a grocery store line, you absorb it. You become the Wi-Fi network that automatically connects to every device nearby, downloading files you never asked for. And here is where it gets tricky. Jung warned that this sight is like a muscle. The more you use it, even accidentally, the stronger it gets. You aren't going to suddenly stop being sensitive. Actually, as you get older, you might find you can tolerate fake behavior even less. Think about the last time you tried to warn a friend about a new partner. You didn't have proof, you didn't have a text or a photo. You just knew with absolute certainty that this person was bad news. You saw the wolf in the sheep's clothing before the zipper was even zipped. But because you couldn't explain it with logic, your friend blew you off. They called you jealous or paranoid or too intense. Jung understood that this is the curse of the intuitive. You are playing chess while everyone else is playing checkers. You see the checkmate coming 10 moves away. You foresee the business failing, the relationship rotting, the inevitable crash. But since the crash hasn't happened in the physical world yet, you are treated like a doomsayer. And the worst part? When you are finally proven right, and you usually are, no one gives you a medal. They actually resent you for it. It is the classic don't shoot the messenger scenario, except you are the messenger for reality itself. This creates a very specific kind of isolation. It isn't that you are lonely, it is that you are existing on a different frequency. It is like being the only sober person in a room full of drunk people. You are watching them stumble and fall while they think they are dancing perfectly. Jung himself lost his relationship with Sigmund Freud over this exact dynamic. Jung saw patterns, mythological, spiritual, collective patterns that Freud refused to accept. Freud wanted to stay in the basement of personal psychology. Jung was already on the roof looking at the stars. So, how does this land in your system? Because it always lands in the body. If you are an empath, you know the cost isn't just mental, it is physical. Jung observed that when the mind senses too much, the body takes the hit. It shows up as that sudden wave of exhaustion that hits you the second you walk into a crowded mall. It is the headache that comes on after hearing a friend complain about the same problem for the 50th time. Your nervous system is running a marathon while your body is sitting still. You are processing gigabytes of emotional data while everyone else is processing kilobytes. But there is a deeper level here, one that Jung was fascinated by: synchronicity. You remember those moments that make you question the fabric of reality. You think of an old song you haven't heard in 10 years, and 20 minutes later, it plays in a coffee shop. You dream about a specific person, and they text you the next morning. To the average person, that is a weird coincidence. To you, it is just Tuesday. Jung believed these weren't accidents. He believed they were proof that the barrier between your inner world and the outer world is much thinner than we are told. This openness is dangerous if you are not careful. If you don't have a strong sense of identity, what Jung called a solid ego-self axis, you can get lost. You can start confusing what is yours with what belongs to the collective. You might feel a sudden wave of heaviness and think, "I am sad," when in reality, you just walked by someone who is grieving. You are carrying baggage that isn't yours, wondering why your back hurts. Society, generally, is not a fan of people who see the truth. Group dynamics rely on a certain amount of shared delusion to work. We all agree to pretend the emperor is wearing clothes. When you, the empath, walk in and quietly acknowledge that the emperor is naked, you become a threat. You don't even need to say a word. People can feel that you see them. It makes them squirm. It triggers their shadow, the parts of themselves they are trying to hide. So, what is the solution? Jung didn't say stop looking. He didn't say toughen up. His answer was individuation. This means becoming a whole person who can hold the tension of opposites. It means building a container strong enough to hold the acid of the truth. Jung had to do this himself. When he was going through his own intense confrontation with the unconscious, he didn't run from it. He bought a Rev leather book and started painting. He grounded his visions in physical reality. He chopped wood. He built a stone tower with his own hands. For you, the modern empath, this is crucial advice. You cannot live entirely in the clouds. You need to touch grass, literally. You need routines that pull you back into your own body. Maybe it is lifting heavy weights. Maybe it is gardening. Maybe it is forcefully kneading bread dough. You need a way to tell your nervous system, this is me, that is them. You also must recognize that you are kind of a pioneer. Jung believed that human consciousness is evolving, and people like you are the scouts. You are out on the edge, seeing the terrain before the rest of the tribe gets there. It is a high-risk, low-reward job in the short term, but it is vital for the survival of the species. So, stop apologizing for your intuition. Stop trying to explain the color blue to people who only see in black and white. Your job isn't to force them to see. Your job is to keep your own eyes open without burning out. You are not broken because you feel everything. You are just tuned to a frequency that the future is broadcasting on. The burden is huge, yes, but the fact that you can carry it, that is proof of a strength you haven't even begun to give yourself credit for. Keep looking. The world needs someone who sees what is truly there.